Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Talk in the Mancave. We got one new face with us today, Javi. Hey man, how you doing?
How's it going, sir? How you doing? How's it going, David?
Good. Sir, I like that. All right. Hey, introduce yourself a little bit to everybody.
Okay, my name's Javier Salazar. I've been in education for 21 years, I think. I've taught for 10 years U.S. history. I did social studies. The last 9, 10 years, I've been doing technology, either teaching it or as a trainer. Um, Maybe I was like 2015. I started a podcast with a friend of mine, John Melendez, and we wanted to do something that would introduce politics because most of it seems like it's either more liberal or more like center left. So we wanted to do a little bit more conservative point of view. So we started in 2015, and I did the podcast with him for about a year. After that, I did it with my brother. My brother took over with me the show, and he stepped down in 2017 because back home in Laredo, somebody decided to run for office and asked him to be a campaign manager. So I put the show on hiatus. So I haven't done the show until last Saturday for almost 3 years. It had been since I had done the show. And
Hey,
I spoken to Gilbert about it. I wanted to get more involved in politics, and I did. I started to like go to rallies and things like that. Last one I went to was last month. I attended the Reopen Texas rally in Austin and decided to take pictures for the first podcast radio that I do the podcast with my brother. And it actually was a pretty interesting. I never really gone to something that big before, so I got to see what like what these people have to say, actually different points of view in it. Then because some people tend to be like have different views. Not only because you're conservative doesn't mean you have the same views. So I got to see what other people have to say, and so I'm here. Well, Gilbert invited me, so I'm ready to
Very
go.
interesting.
that's good. Yeah, well,
Oh,
Gilbert's
another
already
thing, actually, Mr. Cruz will used to be my principal. So for what, Mr. Cruz, about 10 years?
Well, I don't know how long you were at Christian, but we were together also at Sierra Middle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's
Exactly.
been a long time.
Yeah.
wow. It's been a while,
For
man.
all his
That's
21
good.
years, basically. All over
All
the
right. Well, Gilbert promised that you had some good views on different topics, and so we'll see where that goes here today, man. But we're going to talk about a few things. First of all, I mean, it's hard to avoid and ignore everything that's been going on with politics and sports and the reaction that sports has had to the politics that are going on. And it's an election year, and maybe it has a lot to do with it being the election year that people want change or they don't want change, and there's things going on. But is it appropriate for sports to be so involved in politics and at the same time for politics to kind of have so much an effect on sports? I don't know, Carlos, what do you think? First of all, man.
Well, I don't usually when it's small topics, I don't think, politics and sports need to be separate. I think, but when it's talking about, civil rights and equality and injustice, racial injustice, I think it has to be said by the sports athletes because one thing that they say is worth like 10,000 things that a normal person says because they're heard. We can argue all day, but we're not heard. They're heard. So it's important that those people that have a platform stand up and say something against something they think is wrong.
Yeah. Javi, what do you think, man?
My opinion on this is that I think that you have the right, as it comes down to for your First Amendment right, you have the right to speak, but however, I think that you shouldn't do it at work. It's like if we're to go, for example, at HEB, and then somebody there spewing, for example, do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, or not? You're going to go to hell. Even I'm Catholic. I don't want to hear that from anybody. I think there's a time and a place. Outside of the game, you can go and do your protest, or you want to use your popularity as a platform to be able to speak up. I think that you can do that. But within the game itself, I think we're getting to a point in our country where people want an escape. They get bombarded by politics 24/7. And even recently, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she even said herself that she felt like stressed out because all you see is like the rioting, statues going down, all these things in on the news. So if you want to watch sports, and I'm a big sports fan, just want to watch sports without the other stuff, without the politics. So I think that it should be separated. And like I said, I have no problem with them like expressing their First Amendment right, because that is your First Amendment right, but not during the when you're working.
I would kind of have to agree with that as far as like if I went to a concert and I want to hear music, you want to hear music. I mean, you don't want to hear some argument and some chants and this or I'm for this politics. I think the Republican or Democrat or whatever. You don't want to hear that. You want to hear the music and relax, right? Because not everything is about anxiety and stress and changing the world. Some things are just about relaxation and having fun. Gilbert, do you agree with that? Or?
Real quick statement. It's funny you say about a concert, because I went to a Maná concert here in Laredo. I guess the last time they came was probably before the president gotten selected Trump, and they spoke really bad about Trump and to vote against him and stuff. So it did happen. Go on ahead.
So you're saying they had no effect
you
on
go to the concert, Javi?
No, sir, I didn't go.
No, okay, because that's my group. I go to them.
Gilbert, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I think this is where I'm kind of, I'm kind of torn between it because, yeah, you are right. You want to watch sports, but I mean, there are different ways to do it. But I think that this is where it's separating us and not uniting us. Where it's still offensive to some people, and it's on one side and the other side they feel it's right. So that's kind of where there's a split line and people are kind of getting divided.
Right.
Well, look, I have to say this. When we talk about athletes in giving their opinion on politics, most of them do it outside of their job. Now, Colin Kaepernick, on the other hand, did it before the games on a knee. He didn't speak out during the game. He didn't, make a big show. He took a knee, a peaceful protest that got attention. And like it or not,
that's his job, though. To be there.
His job is not
that's
to stand
during
up.
the job.
His job is not to stand
that's
up.
During the job. No, that's during his job. He's doing his job. He's already there exercising, warming up.
His job is
playing football.
Carlos.
If it's not affecting
your
performance, if it's not taking your job, if it's not affecting your performance, then it's fine. It's his right to take a knee. Is that not a right also or no?
I think when you're affecting
elections going on at a school, you cannot have any of that going on. You cannot have anybody politicking, anybody doing.
You can't have people standing outside with signs.
Talk about that. When we had to vote for some legislation that dealt with medicine, they didn't allow us to vote at the hospital where we usually vote. So things like that are done to change the way things are. So, and when you're at the workplace, if you were a business owner and you had your job to do, you don't want people protesting in any way there.
Look at what's happening now. Look at what's happening now. Okay, people can't protest at their jobs. Well, look at Starbucks. Now they're letting people wear Black Lives Matter shirts. Look at all these other places. Now they can wear I Can't Breathe shirts. So now apparently everybody's allowed to protest. So did it make a difference? Definitely Colin Kaepernick made a difference. Like it or not, now they're being heard. And because of him, because he did it during his job. So did it work? Like it or not, it worked.
Well, I don't know. It took years to work and it took another death for it to come back. But, I see that the athletes have a very big stage, a very big audience. And that is, I guess for them, that's the best way to use it to get it out there. But I do not agree with them doing stuff when they're playing, even practicing interviews that are for sports. If they're going to do a specific interview, they should interview exactly for that out of their profession.
Most of the time, they get asked these questions.
Now, but wait, hold on. I need you all talk. Hold on. This is not something to bring people together. This is done to separate people. And yes, let me tell you, if you want to bring people together, do it in a way that does not offend anybody. By kneeling during the anthem, you're already offending a lot of veterans. You're already offending a lot of patriotic people. So you're already separating that group. By saying Black Lives Matter and not all lives matter, you're already separating a lot of other people. Why can't we say Black lives also matter?
You don't
Well,
understand.
you,
You don't
what,
understand.
no, no, no.
Not-
You say I don't understand. I
No.
completely understand.
Because
I don't
first
think
of
you
all,
understand.
you seem not to have the ability to see it from somebody else's point of view. You're not black, but try to see it from their point of view. Yes, all
Carlos,
lives matter.
you may not remember. You may not remember, but I have.
Listen, all lives matter. Definitely, they know that too. You think they don't know that? But all lives are not being affected as much as theirs right now.
Okay, why can't we say
No.
all lives, black lives
Listen.
also matter?
So
No,
you saying
no,
Black Lives
because
Matter?
they
So
want to
you
be
saying
apart.
Black Lives Matter doesn't it doesn't? It's like an insult when you say all lives matter.
And
Black
is it an
Lives
insult to
Matter
say
are-
black lives also matter? Let's find something
No,
that's not
no.
going to affect people.
It's like an insult. It's like saying we all got problems, so forget your problem. That's what you're saying. So saying all lives matter at a time like this is not the right thing to do, and you need to be careful.
Javi, what do you think, Javi?
More than my problem. When we
It's not the right.
went, and I'm not even going to mention the state that we went to. Yeah, you might have been too young, but you don't remember the way we got treated. You know, just because you don't see it in your hometown, Carlos, doesn't mean that it doesn't happen.
You think I don't know what happened? You're acting like if it doesn't happen to anybody.
How old were you? 3, 4, 5?
You're thinking. You think
All right, let's let somebody else get in there. Javi, what do you think, Javi?
Okay, Javi.
Okay. Okay, this is my thing. Is will the NFL allow? If this is the precedent that you're gonna start, right? Will they allow all speech? Well, now will you allow players to speak on behalf of pro-life? Where they'd be doing it during the national anthem, something like a protest for pro-life. Are they going to be doing? Will the NFL allow that? Because back in 2016, the Cowboys, I think there were some police cops that got killed in 2016, and they wanted to wear a decal on their helmet, and the NFL said no. But that could have been like you said, as a freedom of speech, but they said no to that. So are they going to allow?
So is it effective? Like Carlos said, what Kaepernick did, was it effective?
was it? Effective?
I agree with Mr. Cruz. I think that it makes it more divisive. I think if you want to do it where you're going to be solving problems for people like outside of your workplace, I'm all for it. I'll give you an example. What happened to George Floyd was police brutality, and everybody was behind that. But then what happened after that? You have the protests, and then you have the looters that came after that. That kind of ruined that right there, and that would have brought the country together. You want to be able to make changes. I understand that. You want to make changes. I do. You know, but
I think
go for
without the looting, the protest would have been fine. I think the looting is what really made all of that, terrible. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think
unity,
we all
don't do something that does separation.
And we all agree that there's no place for racism anywhere.
Oh, no.
I mean, there's no place for racism anywhere, and there shouldn't be. And the things that people need to come up with are things that don't divide people, and that's all there is to it. I mean, that's all there is to it. You can't be dividing people. But racism is nowhere to be. We shouldn't have it in sports. We shouldn't have it in society at all.
Oh yeah, I just want to say this. I want to say that Mr. Cruz is very right. We at this point in our country, at this time right now, I think we need something that will bring us together, because it is becoming very divisive, divisive, and even in sports, you're getting now politics involved in that. I think that's it's bad for the country moving forward, because I mean, I don't know where this is going to lead to. I mean, now you're having all these statues removed. First it started with the Confederate statues, then you moved on to Abraham Lincoln, who freed the slaves. You have Ulysses S. Grant, who was a Northern general. He got removed. Now they want to remove Jesus Christ. So, I mean, where does this end,
Well, the thing that brings us all together is carne asadas. We love carne asada, and we can get together, right? Can we?
I hope they don't make that political, David.
Cows, no place for killing cows. Well, I think it's kind of a rough topic, to discuss it. But we're going to see a lot of it this coming year, maybe 2 years.
If you're going to create more division, David, if you're going to create more division, you're going to create more hate.
Dad,
and that's exactly what you want to create more hate.
Listen, you don't understand. Obviously, it's like you don't understand.
I'm not the one that doesn't understand that.
Listen, you think they're creating more division while they think there's inequality right now. There's already division. They're trying to be equal.
So you want to come together? You don't want to.
Yes, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to be equal.
Oh, so let's have a war.
There's no war. There's no war.
Well, if that's what you want to do,
Most people with common sense are on the same side. All right.
So in a utopian, let's
No, I agree. I agree that it's not right. I agree that it's not right. I just do not agree the way that
I don't think you
doing it
understand from a different point of view.
No.
You don't understand from a different point of view that all lives matter is not the point right now. You don't understand, obviously. It's not all lives matter
but
right
it just creates separation because only mine, ahorita. No, don't be
I think
selfish.
you're feeling left out. That's what it is. You're feeling left out. You need to be a part of something.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I think the movement is a good movement to end racism, but you want to end racism. You don't want to start racism or get it worse.
And that's what's
so how do you
happening.
do that? You have to have people on both sides being able to communicate the way they should, not by taking out guns the way they are doing in Seattle and having that little place where no cops can get
now
in.
the police feel that they have to have their own marches. Have you seen that? Now the police are having their own marches. All the people that are backing up the police. So now they're going to have their marches. The others are going to have their marches. And they're going to.
You're a social studies teacher, right, Javi? You're a social studies teacher. So looking at the protests in the past, Malcolm X protest, Dr. King protest, I'm sure there was a lot of people like you all. They're not slaves anymore. They're not slaves anymore. They're not slaves. No, they're not. But things are not equal. And did those protests work to make things better for them? Yes. So that's what's happening here. It's not about all lives right now. It's not. It's about black lives trying to be equal. And you know what? We're Mexican. We get treated the same as black people too. And that's why I'm behind this Black Lives Matter thing. And you all seem, no, we're separate. You're creating.
It's not.
No one said that we're against it. No one said that we're against it. I'm against how they are doing it. By creating separation and hate does not make anything
They're not
better.
creating separation. So you think Dr. King and Malcolm X were creating separation and hate?
Well, I didn't see them. I didn't see them offending the patriotic people and the ex-veterans. I didn't see them offending them.
And Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali refusing to go to war for his country. And you all look up to him? That's a little bit of, what's that?
And there's been a lot of people that refuse to go to war for their country. And that's totally different. Did he create hate like this?
What?
No.
That's more unpatriotic.
I got to say this about Muhammad Ali, though. His son recently came out in the New York Post, and he said that his dad would have been opposed to Black Lives Matter.
And if you remember, his dad was a part of the Islamic Brotherhood with Malcolm X before he had a falling out where he said that all white men were blue-eyed devils. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, because what happened supposedly is I was reading an article that he was very more liberal when he was younger. As he got older, became more conservative and Republican. He backed up. I'm sorry.
I read an article about 2004.
I'm sorry.
He wrote a book, Muhammad Ali, where his views had changed, but they hadn't changed that much.
Okay, because he did back up Trump in 2016, and then the other thing is he was a big supporter of Orland Hatch, the senator from Senator retired. So he actually was for the war on terrorism. So his views did change. Just want to let you guys know that.
Yeah, I mean, people change over time, and I think that the majority of the people are behind the movement to end racism, and I think everybody's been behind that movement to end racism for a long time, and more has to be done. More has to be done, and it always has to be done in a way that unites. That's all there is to it. I mean, and hopefully they can do that, and hopefully they can come about and do a good job. And if sports plays a part with that, then that's good, I guess. That's a good thing. So we'll see how it goes, huh? Charlie, I know you agree. But let's go. All right, so let's go on. Let's go on, and I wanna lay off the politics and stuff like that, and hopefully everything gets resolved and everybody does well with all that. But
and just to make sure, I'm not opposed to the movement. I'm opposed to how it's being done.
I think nobody is opposed to that movement. At least nobody that I know is opposed to that movement. Nobody wants racism here, man. Anyway, so let's talk about football. Let's talk about Dak. Is he going to take a knee? No, I'm just playing. He got signed, and he is. You think he's going to be signing for a little bit more, or is this just a one-year thing and he's gone? What's going on there, Gilbert? What do you think, man?
What you guys have to understand is that he signed the tender offer. They still have till July, I think July 15th or 16th to get a deal done. the when he signed, it created some cap trouble. So that counts dollar for dollar. So they have no flexibility. So the main goal is to get him signed long term, but they had to kind of they had to get this signing done no matter what. So I guess that's what's in the works. I think that right now with the COVID and everything, he needed to sign the tender as well because you don't know how the salary cap is going to be with the economy and the way it's heading. So he may have to take less. So the smart thing to do was take the guaranteed money right now.
Yeah, I had mentioned last time that we spoke about this that because Gilbert had said the salary caps, the salaries for the quarterbacks are going to be going up. I told him maybe not after this year, and I was reading that today where it might go down. So it might be a lot of trouble if they're going to sign him again next year as the franchise tag. It would be 37 million, and it won't be able to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So
no fans,
no fans, nothing there. Unless they really get on marketing and more people are buying NFL stuff, that's the only way it'll happen. But how can you make up so many people, so much money? You can't make that up.
If there's no season, does he still get paid?
Yeah, he has to get paid. He has to get paid. But like Gilbert was paid against the team.
You get paid per game.
Per game, right. Yeah, if there's no season, you don't get paid.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's per game.
Yeah.
But this really gives the Cowboys a chance. If there is a season, if there's even half a season, it really gives the Cowboys a chance to see, do we want to keep you or do we want to, trade you off? It gives them it works both ways. It works for him because he may get more money, but it could work against him to where if he has a terrible season, it could be like, okay, you're out.
You're out. Yeah.
Because it's a 1-year deal.
Carlos, what do you think, man?
Well, I was kind of hoping we get to see the Red Rocket perform, but I guess we get Dak again. I think he's going to improve, though.
Yeah, he's always getting better. But there's only so many years you have to get better.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Javi, you have any comment on
Actually, a lot of stuff I talked to with Gilbert, we text back and forth about this. I think that he made a big mistake in not signing his contract before that they offered him. I think he wanted more money, but I think the salary cap might be coming down with everything going on with COVID. He maybe made a mistake there. I think, and we'll see. We'll see how the season plays out. He signs his tender, but I think he should have signed the contract that they offered him.
No, he's actually making more money with this because the signing the tender with 1 year, he gets it all in one chunk, and he's already a top 5 paid quarterback. Maybe top 3 with so he's actually making more than if he would have signed for 20-something million, and that's what I think the other 2 quarterbacks got. The one from the Rams and Eagles. What's his name? Wentz.
Yeah,
so he's actually making more.
But if you sign a contract for 4 or 5 years, you're guaranteed so much more money. This is a 1-year deal. He has to sign it again next year if he doesn't want to sign a contract.
But it's kind of like you're getting a whole signing bonus in 1 year, and then next year he'll get it again. So it's kind of like he's gonna make more than close to $70 million in 2 years.
Yeah, you guarantee yourself more if you sign a contract.
Well, there's more stability.
Yeah, I by the way, this year, does anybody really think there's going to be a season?
I don't think
the more that goes by, I think that I was listening to a doctor speak, and he's saying this is going to be with us at least halfway through the next year. Yeah. And that is going to probably doom the NFL season and whatever else. Baseball might be the only one that has a chance. No sliding into second base, no sitting on the ball.
We'll talk about baseball. They're going to be playing 60 games? In 66 days?
60 games is what they had tried, right?
That's crazy. 60 and 66. I guess they always do that, don't they? But that's a lot of games, man.
Well, they play 182.
Yeah, but 60 and 66. Which means no rest for anybody. It's a good thing none of the basketball players play baseball because there'd be no games. They're always resting, man. So anyway, let's talk about the NBA. It's going to be in a bubble, right? When does that start, Gilbert? It's coming up already, no?
Yeah, I think by the end of July they're supposed to be starting. I guess there's already some players backing off, but at the same time, the way you have to look at it is who are these players really backing off? I mean, they're really no names, or they're players that don't have a chance to contend. I mean, you have yet to hear a superstar, even a team that's in the middle tier, like let's say the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets, a lot of people don't really consider them title contenders, but they are up there. You know, they are up there, and like it's not like Harden or Russell Westbrook are thinking about not playing. So the teams that the players are not playing, they're the bottom feeder teams that don't really have a chance to contend.
All right. Javi, how much do you like the NBA first of all, and how do you like this the way they're setting this up?
Well, I'm a basketball fan, and I actually like the way they're going to set it up. And I hope they get to play. I hope they on July 31st. I think that's when they were supposed to start playing. I hope they start playing. I know there's some people, some of them are saying that they don't want to play because of COVID, yeah. But I hope that they decide to do it. You know.
Now, one cautionary tale that I want to say is that I think Florida right now has the biggest spike. So right now, it's kind of they're kind of iffy where. You know, if they don't do it in Florida, they're not going to do it at all because you don't have a month just to pack up and go somewhere else to Vegas. Okay, it's already set to be in Orlando, and Florida has the biggest spike in the COVID. So right now, that's where it's kind of like, it's kind of a slippery slope situation.
And someone is going to be serving them food. Someone is going to be cleaning their rooms. There's always going to be people around. It's not like separation. Everybody's going to be touching where they fix their beds, where they do whatever it may be. I mean, so it's not separation, and it does, like Gilbert says, Florida is worse than Texas right now, and Texas is really, really bad.
And what you have to remember is that those people that are cleaning the beds, they still got to go home to their family lives and then come back into the bubble. So it's not like everybody's in a bubble unless they're going to fix it and make sure everybody's in the bubble and they get paid overtime and they stay in that bubble.
Yeah, I thought everybody was staying in
the bubble. I doubt people are going to stay there without seeing their families unless they're hiring.
I thought they're bringing their families. Workers and everything are bringing their families, no?
From what I heard, no.
I mean, that's the way it should be.
I thought that's what it was.
They should keep everybody in, close it off to the public.
That's the way a bubble will work.
And the only thing that I'm thinking is if they're separating into groups of 4 or 5 teams or whatever it may be, and they're going to play round robin, if they find one person and they already played against 3 teams, is that going to be 3 teams out, even if they have the best record in that round robin?
That's a good point.
If stuff like that happens, it shouldn't happen. If you're there, every team should be able to finish it off. But if there's somebody positive, then if everybody finishes it off, there's going to be a lot of positives.
Look, should the Spurs play with a mask so that they're the last team standing?
No, but we left Aldridge at home so that he doesn't get sick.
Well, the only way a bubble will work is if everybody stays in that bubble. If not, it's pointless to have a bubble. So I don't think they plan to have a bubble where employees get to go home, but not the players. I think everybody stays in the bubble, and that's the only way a bubble works, really.
Well, so far,
that is the thinking, but that was the issue today. That's what they spoke about today on other networks about these people, that it wasn't settled yet about these people not being able to go home to their families and come back. So I think that's what they need to fix.
That's not really a bubble.
Yeah. I want to go back to what Mr. Cruz said. I mean, it's a very good point. It's like, what happens if one of them tests for the COVID? I mean, because it usually don't they have to test everybody that person was associated with? So what would happen then?
Yes, everyone that he was in contact with.
That's a big liability.
And they'll have to start eliminating people. I mean, that's there. So I assume they're going to be tested pretty frequently. And of course, they're going to be supposedly they're going to be wearing those rings that monitor temperature and heart rate and everything else. So I'm sure that if they see anything that's out of the ordinary, they'll stop them quick.
The one thing that I can guarantee is the ratings. The ratings are going to be very, very high because everybody's just so thirsty to watch something. There's nothing to watch. So I do think the ratings are going to be very high.
Is this all?
Get it done.
Is it all going to be on ESPN?
I was talking to a friend of mine that said, damn, I think I'm going to be watching baseball. I miss sports so much. He never watches baseball.
anything that comes up, man. Yeah. So yeah, I think everybody's just dying to see anything in sports. I know there's a few fights coming up. There's fights tonight, maybe. You said MMA, right?
Yeah, I don't know, Carlos. What do you know about that? How do you
It's boxing.
boxing?
Oh, there's boxing tonight. Ah, nice. Okay. Well, I haven't seen boxing in a while either, man. So we gotta see something tonight. All right, guys. Any other topics? Anything that you guys think is really sports related today?
Or Javi, anything that you really wanted to talk about?
Well, I just want to say this, that I'm actually, right now that you were talking about sports, I'm very, very impressed with the UFC, because they've had, I don't know, maybe like 8 events or something like that, something crazy. And they've only had like just a couple of people test positive. So they actually done a really good job of being able to control the way they're able to set up the fights and then have them show up and fight. So
They're in an island? Are they in an island?
Told me there was only one fight that had been canceled.
I think
away with.
now
There
it's
was-
two.
there was two?
Now it's 2.
Oh, now it's 2.
Is that
was
because the
it, they
fighter
controlled
was
it.
positive?
You're right, they controlled it.
I think they're in an island like David, right?
Well,
Are they in an island?
not yet. They're
No.
going.
They're going over there.
July 11th, I think it's UFC 252 will be in Fight Island. That should be pretty cool.
I think it's over there where David is. Where are you, David? The Bahamas?
Yeah, right here, man. It's nice and relaxing here, man. It's really nice.
I can see the wind.